Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. It's really fun actually following multiple things at the same time and seeing how they kind of coexist and move around. Previously we talked about the carriers which have been added to some code or some ideas have been added to the files for the carriers, you know, the localization settings and a few other things. But also, with War Thunder Mobile, we can kind of see what's going to come next when it comes to War Thunder itself. I don't know whether they're using it as a testing platform, but I remember in Enlisted's early days, and even today in Enlisted, what they do is they work together on general mechanics and also what to add to both of the games. So you can see in War Thunder Mobile right now, they just had a major update, Jungle Strike, which is where a lot of the carrier stuff came from. And then they added a bunch of new vehicles. We've seen pretty much all of them before. You know, all of them are in the standard game of War Thunder. Nothing too crazy. I suppose this has a weird name, the M42 144 ADA, which seems a little bit odd. And then, of course, the CM25 makes it in, which is quite funny. But when it comes to ships, hey, look. It's a new one. Now, one of the things about War Thunder Mobile is that if you actually have a look at their ships, they have a lot of pretty cool ones. And now we actually have the Yamato, which is in the game. By the way, this is the premium KV-1282 pack. You can see it here. And then, of course, the T29 one. I just wanted to check the Duster. Yeah, it's just the standard one. It's just got a weird name. So, yeah, the Yamato is here. And it's come in the configuration, the 73,000 ton behemoth, and then also 9 460mm guns. The interesting thing, at least for me, about this vehicle is all of the ridiculous setup around it. I don't know if I can kind of show you. So you've got like the main guns here. Then, of course, you have the secondaries, which I'm pretty sure we already have in the game, in the standard War Thunder game. And then they just went, I want everything, fam, when it comes to these guns here. Like, look at this mess, which you just find over here. Doesn't this just look ridiculous? And the main thing to talk about with this is the fact that it's here and it's been worked on. And as always, knowing that all of these projects work in parallel, Gaijin actually released a video the other day where they kind of went through their thought processes and how they set everything up. And if they do set everything up like that, it's kind of nuts. It was like one of those Gaijin PR videos where they talked about how each thing that works under their umbrella, basically they all have like their own like team, and then that team obviously has like heads to it, and then those heads kind of collectively work together on projects. So the idea is that you don't have this really crazy hierarchy where you have to worry about things, and also teams are massively pushed towards working together when it comes to development. So if that's the case with like War Thunder Mobile, with Enlisted, and with War Thunder, that's why you see all of these different things going on. And with the recent news when it comes to War Thunder, that, you know, they're obviously testing out submarines, they're obviously testing out a little bit when it comes to carriers and how they're going to work, it should be no surprise to anybody that they're also going to bring in stuff like the Yamato. When it came to last year, I think it was, on DMM. If you don't know what DMM is, War Thunder DMM is DMM is like a distributor of game products in Japan, and you basically have to go through them if you're an international company. It creates a lot of issues, in my opinion, because it's basically like an exclusivity hell. If you sign up for DMM, you actually lose access to all of the other markets because it's only specifically designed for Japanese people. And if you you know, are in Japan, you don't get access to stuff like the Gaijin store and things like that, or you're not supposed to, right? You're supposed to go through DMM. So it's another one of these I wish it didn't exist kind of things, because it just annoys me that we have to live in this like kind of world where everybody lives in their own little like parallel bit and we can't all do stuff together, which just sucks. And I just wish it wasn't the case, but c'est la vie. But we did see on War Thunder DMM that they were looking for stuff for the Yamato, that they were trying to find information, they were working on it, and that was one of the big projects of them over that year, because one of the things that they also were talking about the previous year was stuff like the F4EJ, you know, and then also some of the crazy missiles, the AM3s, for example, trying to get some information on those, and then also working with the JGSGF, the Japanese Ground Self-Defense Forces, to try and get some pretty cool audio and also information on stuff like the Type 10 and the Type 90. And guess what? Now they're here. And the Yamato is also here, at least in War Thunder Mobile. So if you didn't know about War Thunder Mobile, it might actually be worth looking at, because they do actually have a ton of different stuff in it. Obviously, if you are a person who is more interested in mobile gaming, you'll be, somebody who is more inclined to it. But one of the things I find interesting about it is the simple fact that they are actually pumping out a ton of content for the platform, and also they are doing events, they are doing, a ton of different things. And one of the things I must point out, which I actually find kind of interesting, is they are doing this kind of platoon system, which I feel like is something that we haven't talked about too much. And by the way, they did add a bunch of other ships previously, which we talked about: the Iowa, the Tirpitz, the Stalingrad, the King George, and also the Sovietsky Soyuz, and also some submarines too, and the Akoma, which I believe we actually have. But yeah, so the Tang, the Iowa, the Tirpitz, the Stalingrad, the King George, and the submarines too. So these guys also will be ready to go pretty soon in War Thunder. We know that the Tirpitz has been in the files for like 4 years now, so this idea of future planning really goes pretty far. Really goes pretty far when it comes to War Thunder and its stuff. But yeah, the fact that they have this like platoon system, so what you do is you unlock one of the first vehicles, you get research into it, that unlocks the second one, and then so on and so forth, and you take the platoon into games. So that's how their system works. It isn't one where you specifically choose the lineups that you want. Instead, you just bring in the platoon and then play with that. I think is actually pretty cool as a general idea. And you can see the idea of the platoons. You have like a tank destroyer, you have a light tank, a heavy tank, and then an AA. Just like how you have 2 medium tanks, an SPG, and then an AA. So the idea is that they can easier balance stuff because they kind of force people to play certain things. I feel like if War Thunder came out today, this type of system would actually be considered just because of the fact it would be much easier to balance than the system that we have right now. The other thing they also bring in, which I think should be thought about, is this idea of seasons. So they do have, it's obviously a mobile game, right? So it has all of the mobile game things. But one of the interesting things for me is they kind of have this like battle pass setup, but instead it's based around battle tasks. You can see day 1 to 13. So complete the season's Jungle Strike battle task, get war bonds as a reward, and unlock trophy containers with valuable prizes. So, it's adding a bit of RNG to stuff, but also at the same time, this is basically just like a battle pass, but a more simplified version. So, you create or you do like these missions, it unlocks, the stuff on the next days, and then you can kind of go from there. And I think that's pretty cool. It's something that War Thunder could definitely benefit from, on top of the other mechanics that they have access to. Something like this could actually work pretty well, and it would mean that people could get access to premiums, hopefully not RNG, hopefully they would be more guaranteed, and you could get the stuff. So hopefully in the future, when it comes to War Thunder, that can be something that's implemented. But the main thrust is, of course, the big ship. And another show that when it comes to War Thunder Mobile, they really are ahead when it comes to the naval stuff. They're really pumping it out. So if you ever want to see what's coming in the next stage of War Thunder, all you got to do is check the mobile version. As always, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. I'd just like to thank Brendan Quinn, Vilneus, Character Fuel, Juan the Panda, Carrion Crow, Gus Irenicus, Pyman, Merciless Reaper, Orange Tail, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, Moxie, B. Young, Bareen, Peter Grayling, Alan Hacker, Sem Alslan, Uncle Bean, and Derek R., and also Lafouche for supporting the channel.